Dear student, today we will discuss evolution, the introduction part, and here we will be discussing what all things we are going to study about the evolution. So, evolution is defined as the gradual change in the heritable characteristic of biological population over successive generations. Charles Darwin, the naturalist who is known as father of evolution, his idea of evolution were published in the book The Origin of Species by Means of Natural Selection in 1859. So, what all things are we going to study about the evolution? We'll be studying about the origin of life, the various theories on evolution, various evidences, the study of evolutionary evidences, and then we'll be talking about how different theories are involved in it. So, in the origin of life, we'll be talking about how from the atom the first primitive cell formed. That is, from the chemical, the evolution is biological, toward biological side. Evolution theories, they were proposed by various scientists like Lamarck. He introduced the theory of evolution, which is famously called Lamarckism. Similarly, theory of Darwin is known as Darwinism, which is also famously known as theory of natural selection. Then mutation theory, which is given by Hugo de Vries, and modern synthetic theory, which is given by many different scientists, and it basically involves population genetics, polymorphism, Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium, reproductive isolation, and speciation. In the evidences of evolution, we are going to study the morphological and anatomical evidences, embryological evidences, paleontological evidences, and evidences from molecular biology. Then we'll be also talking about the neo-Darwinism, the difference between the natural selection and artificial selection, types of natural selection, directional, stabilizing, and disruptive, and ways in which the evolution occurs. So there are different modes: divergent, convergent, co-evolution, adaptive, radiation. So to understand evolution, now consider the changes in the landmass of the earth from Pangea to seven continent. So it's not only the life which is evolving, but it is also the features of the earth were evolving parallelly. So Pangea, which is supposed to so called as one landmass on the earth, and today we have seven different landmass which are known as seven continent. So simultaneously, what was happening when this landmass was undergoing a change, there was a climatic condition which were changing on these land masses, or we can say on the earth, since the formation of earth till present day. So now what is happening? The primitive atmosphere which was reduced have changed to the oxygenated environment. So consider the changes in the environment, consider the changes in the landmass, and consider the climatic change. The types of environmental condition on the earth favored a particular life forms to flourish. Okay, so on a particular geographic area, in a particular environment, a particular life form is flourishing, and simultaneously the life evolved from the heterotroph to autotroph. So first organisms were heterotroph, from there the autotroph came, and then the life evolved from simple to complex, from prokaryotes to eukaryotes, from anaerobes to aerobes. The condition on earth have always favored the better selection of life on the earth. So this is a natural mechanism. The most extensive theory which talks about the evolution is the theory of natural selection. Of course, this is given by Darwin. Since all the organism lives in coordination with their environment, therefore continuously subjected to evolution. So there is interaction between the organism, there is interaction between the organism and the environment, and it is said that the evolution keep occurring in this way. The evolution of life on earth is recorded in terms of geological time scale. So we'll be talking about what is geological time scale. Now it has been estimated that Earth formed 4.5 billion year ago, and the Earth was that time the spinning ball of hot gases, and the temperature was 5,000 to 6,000 degrees Celsius. And this slowly, gradually converted to molten mass. Further, the different elements got stratified according to their density. Gradually, the temperature on the earth started decreasing, and with this, the steam condenses to water, and this leads to the formation of primitive rain. The rain resulted in the solidification of the certain matter, since earlier the earth was hot ball. So once the rain occurred, certain matter got solidified and certain gases converted into liquid state. So the water returned to the atmosphere because of the superheated earth, and the process continued for millions of years. So now comes the chemical evolution. So, what happened next is after gradual cooling, the first ocean called primitive ancient ocean were formed, and they were rich in dissolved compound ammonia, methane like, and metallic nitride cyanogens. With the earth cooled down by 1000 degrees Celsius, the combination of inorganic compound regulated in the form of organic compounds such as hydrocarbon. Now these inorganic compounds started converted to organic compounds such as hydrocarbon, unsaturated and saturated one, amino acid, alcohol, etc. Now further, more chemical reactions were favored such as polymerization, oxidation, reduction and condensation. More complex organic compounds such as macromolecule were formed such as glycerol, fatty acids, carbohydrate, nucleic acids. So from these hydrocarbon now more complex organic molecules are formed, and these are nothing but they are biomolecules. So these act as a constituent of protoplasm, and macromolecules aggregate in the oceanic water in the colloidal state and acquire self-replicating ability. So this is where the first coercive formation, that is the first non-living cell which is known as coercive, they are formed, and this is what we say the origin of life on the earth began 3.5 to 4 billion year ago. So the first protozoal formed from these aggregate for the aggregate developed by the membrane, that is compartmentalization. And here once this compartmentalization occur of these aggregate, then those first non-living cell converted into the first living cell which are known as protobiont. Further, it required the property of transmitting nucleic acid to the next cell by cell division, and this also has acquired enzymatic activity. So this is called free gene. So it can give rise to new cell, that is the first primitive cell which can grow. Okay, so now from the living cell, next living cell is forming. This is called biogeny. And when the first living cell is formed from the non-living, it is called chemogeny, because they were aggregates of chemicals. The primitive cell were anaerobic heterotrophs. So the first cell which were formed were heterotroph, and they were anaerobic because there was no oxygen which was there in the environment. There were chances that the heterotroph, if would persist, they would have consumed all the organic matter of primitive ocean. So this is a hypothesis that why the heterotroph got converted into autotroph. So from here the divergence of life occurs. So autotrophs are formed, heterotrophs were there. Autotrophs, first autotrophs were chemosynthetic, and then comes the photosynthetic. And once the photosynthetic autotroph came, they releases oxygen in the environment, and the first aerobic organism comes. And here from the chemosynthetic to photosynthetic, endosymbiont theory uh, comes into the play, and the life moved from water to land. So this is very much later on stage that how the life moved from water to land. But here you need to see that this is what just one phase, the Gondwana phase, the Gondwana landmass, the Pangaea broken down to Laurasia and Gondwana. So second half, how the different continent were very close to each other, here you can say. And now this is what is the present. This is just 125 million year ago, and here you can see how they are separated. So the reason for divergence of different plant and animal is that they get separated because the landmass got separated. So next video will be discussing next part of evolution. Thank you.